Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laureli Shimayo. This is the MeWe Metaphysics and Wellness panel for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest and many online. Today is one of our online panels. The theme today is Achieving Healthy Lifestyle Balance. We have panels on all kinds of different topics. You're always welcome to ask a question about that specific topic and about any topic in our events. So we're going to have the practitioners introduce themselves, and then we'll talk a bit about the theme. And then we'll be answering questions from you, from the audience. We request that you, well, let's see, it's free to be here to listen and learn from all that is shared. It's a great opportunity to practice opening to your intuition, and it is a small price to ask a question of the panel. There are 6 of us on the panel today, and you'll probably get answers from everyone. Depends on your question. Yeah, so as I was saying, we're going to have everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll talk a bit about the theme, and then we'll be answering questions. I'll do a little bit to set the container before we start answering questions. Yeah, so I think let's just jump in, and maybe let's go in the same order as before. So we're going to have Stephanie, Satora, Marcia, Felicia, Sue, and myself will all share. Yeah, and I'll put the information in the information is in the chat again about how to pay for a question. If you know you want to ask a question, please request that you pay ahead, and then let me know in the chat that you've paid. I'll get you in line. All right, we're excited to be with all of you. Exciting to see who's in the audience. All right, so go ahead, Stephanie.
Oh, hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Bucklin. I am a psychic medium. I am a Reiki practitioner and a yoga teacher, and love doing events. This is, I think, my 6th or 7th panel with you, Laureli. It's so much fun. I love this format. It is awesome. I really help people get unblocked, unstuck, and just really moving forward in their lives. So a lot of what I focus on is energetic blocks, because we get blocked in our energy system before we get blocked in our physical system. So when you have blocks, it's really easy to see for most of us intuitives. We can find them pretty easily energetically. And so when you're blocked, you might find like a throat chakra block. You can't communicate very well, or you struggle with communication, or you can't speak up when you really want to. And when you get unblocked, it's almost like a flood. It's like you finally can say what you mean, say what you want. It is powerful. So that is the power of getting unblocked. And the beauty of lifestyle balance and finding that balance is really, it's a holistic practice. You figure out the things that really help you and really save you from having too much stress, having too much anxiety, having too much chaos in your life. You figure out how to create that balance, and then you bring those practices into your daily existence, and that creates balance across the board. So I'm excited to share all that, and I will share about my event later. Yes, Laureli?
Share a little bit now. Go ahead and just share now.
Sure. Okay. So Laureli and I have been partnering for a while now. I am hosting events in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm also doing them online, and I do an integrative wellness expo. So it's a little bit more on the, shall we say, conventional side of things, but I am very much a metaphysical person. And so if you come to my event, you'll find the people that are working a little bit more side by side with Western medicine, as well as the psychics and the Reiki practitioners and the massage therapists and acupuncturists, chiropractors. And so we're hosting an event in just a couple weeks called the Autumn Integrative Wellness Expo and Conference. We're going to share a link for that. And we're also raffling off 2 free VIP tickets during this event tonight. So I'm excited to see who wins those. And I'll share more later. Thank you, Laureli.
Great. Thanks so much, Stephanie. And I guess, and I didn't hear everything. Did you give everyone a sense of the full range of all the different things that you do? You do so many different things. Yeah, go ahead. Say just a little bit more before we go on to the next person. Or you did? You feel like you shared?
Yeah, I think I did. I'm a business mentor. I'm a coach. I'm a healer. Yeah, I love doing events. I would love to do your event. If you have an event in mind, I can help with that too.
Great. Thanks so much, Stephanie. All right, Satora is next.
Hi, I'm Satora and I'm with Amaris. And Amaris Well-Being is our offering. It's all about your well-being. I help sensitive beings. Um, I think my motivation is to ease the way to ease life because as spiritual and sensitive, we often make it harder for ourselves. Oh shit, can you hear me? Zoom said
Yeah.
it can't
Yeah, we hear
detect.
you just fine.
Okay, all right. Um,
Using sensitive
so
being. Yeah.
so my intention is, and our intention is, to ease everyday life, to ease the spiritual path, to ease the self-development, to ease the whole journey and have it be more fun by first and foremost tapping into the source of our well-being, into the source within us and aligning with that, and from that we get into a flow where there is more ease and more fun and more enjoyment. So and we do that through sessions. I do online sessions. I also started having in-person sessions here in Port Townsend in Washington. um, I'm the founder of Quantum Energetic Realignment. That is the energy healing modality that Amaris and I do together that helps you align with who you really are and with what you want, with your heart's desire. And it bases you, you're being based in love, and blocks are being removed, energy knots dissolved, and you emerge in a different state of consciousness where you're more in alignment with what you're dreaming of and with who you really are. And then we have the Jin Tara, which is an oriental healing art that works with the meridians and touching points on the body and certain sequences, that has a great self-care component that everybody can do at home. It is totally safe. You can't do any harm. You can do as much of it as you want or as little. So that helps integrate the energy work and it helps continue it. So we also do sessions where sometimes people just want answers and they want to have conversations. I'm also starting to do more events now. I'm going to start a empowered prayer and intention circle pretty soon. I'm working on it now, setting it up. It's will be on my website pretty soon. This is the website. You can reach us at amaris.com. So this is the website. You find all the information there. It's not on there right now, but it should be within the next few days. That will be an event that's on a pay what you can or want basis, so that anybody who has total financial problems right now is welcome to come, and everybody who can give something is welcome to give something. And this is to address currently many people are affected by what's happening in the world, and the energies are kind of tumultuous and wild. And so this is something where you can come together, center, and focus in on what we desire for ourselves, for our loved ones, and also for the community and the earth as a whole, for sending these good energies and intentions out into the world. So it will include all of that in this event. And there is more events coming this year. And is there anything else?
And I'll just say for those that are in the Port Townsend area, you're going to be in person.
Oh, I'd be on a fair. There is a fair in Port Townsend, the Into the Mystic Fair. and at the Unity Church on October 14 and 15. And I think it starts on the 13th in the evening with a speaker. And then the 14th and 15th, there will be Lorelei and I will be, Lorelei will do her sessions and I will be doing my sessions. That's a great opportunity to experience that. In-person sessions are a little different than online because I will be doing flows and listening to pulse in these sessions, do more Jin in combination with the energy work. I will also be giving a talk there all about the Jin and self-care applications that then you can learn and do with me and take home with you. Yeah, that's in Port Townsend, Washington. It's a beautiful place. We still have good weather right now. Come here if you want to take the weekend off and be in paradise. This is a good place here. Anything else, Laura, I should say?
I think that's great. And we'll all have a chance to, if we think of something else we want to share. And we're going to come back and talk about the theme shortly.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this theme, but yeah, with myself, I think I'm done now. Thank
That's
you.
great. Thank you. You're welcome. Marcia.
Geez, forgot to unmute. Hi, I'm Marcia Colver, and I do lots of different things as well. I do shamanism, massage therapy. That's what I started out in. I do Reiki. I do a lot with past life work and a lot with ancestry work, both ancestral healing and connection with your ancestors. I also do hypnosis for all of that. Sometimes I even combine hypnosis with my massage so that we can end past lives with massage, all kinds of things together so that we can get you the best healing that you can get in the time allotted. So I'm also an author. I have an Amazon author page. Would you like me to share that?
It's up to you. Yeah, sure. You can share whatever you want.
Nope, that's not. I'll get it. I'll retrieve it and share it a little bit later. But tonight I am doing a special, and it is $33 for 30 minutes with me. And you can have whatever you'd like that I do. Just make sure that you tell me in however you contact me, either phone or through email. Let me know that you were on this panel and that you found out about me through here so that I can give you the right special. So one of the most fabulous things that I do, though, that I didn't talk about is the singing while I heal. So I sing and move in and through and around you and balance up your energy and then give you a reading about what happened afterwards. And that's some of the shorter sessions that I do. And but when I do massage and hypnosis, anything, I started out with singing. So I've gotten to the point now where I channel most of the time when I'm singing. I usually don't chant, or I don't speak in English, but sometimes I'm still called to use the Celtic music that I love so much, and or anything that comes to mind. And I just allow my guides to drop that into my head and I start singing. So that's the really special thing that I do. So thank you for having me on this again, Laureli. This is really fun. And it's good to meet up with all the fellow practitioners too.
It's great. And then maybe one more thing. You mentioned you're going to drop in the author link. What have you written? What is there?
Oh, yes. Yes. There are a few books on there. Most of them are about ancestry. So ancestral healing, they're all called The Ancestors Within. And then I have other things on there too, I think. So I've written quite a bit in the last few years, and I'm going to write more. So keep looking for that as well. I also have my own live show through Goldilocks Productions, Monday nights at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And it's live on YouTube through their link. So
great. Thanks so much. And we'll come back and talk about the theme shortly. All right, Felicia is next.
Have you heard the phrase, work smarter, not harder? Aloha, I'm Felicia Miller-Johnson, and I encourage individuals to live smart. I'm an all-intuitive executive and a life coach. And I sevenfold coach hidden figures on how to increase their work-life happiness, social connections, critical thinking, and spiritual awareness. I also conduct a live webcast called All Intuitive Conversation on LinkedIn on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Central Time. Come join and watch as I conduct live energy readings with career professionals, at the same time shuffling oracle cards, tapping into their energy, channeling spiritual feedback, and asking intuitive questions. You can also catch the replays on YouTube. I look forward to connecting with everyone this evening.
Thanks so much, Felicia. Sue's next.
Hi, I am an intuitive empath. So being an empath, I can pretty much let's see, let me rephrase that. So what happens is with me, when my healing journey started, I wanted to connect the normal to the magic. So my understanding with the healing started with understanding basic human patterning and basic human behaviors. And I can like do energy work and clear it. I do Reiki. I can do all of that, but more importantly, I like to focus on recognizing our human patterns and how they affect us on all different levels, and how when we clear one pattern, it affects the rest of our beings. So that's me. Thank you.
Great. I mentioned you have a special too. And I say Felicia has a special also. I'll put everyone's specials in the chat again shortly. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll spend more time
Thank you, Laureli.
Great. And I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. I read your eyes, read your soul, and answer questions about your soul, your purpose, career path, relationships. I love to use this work for matchmaking, helping you make choices of who to connect with for various things. And with your body, I'm also reading your body. Your body is giving me and you all kinds of messages all the time. For example, we might think that, oh gosh, when you touch yourself up here, do you know why? When you touch yourself here, do you know why? Most of the time, this might be sadness, some loss that you're experiencing or that you imagine someone else is experiencing, right? And it could be compassion, feeling for them for that loss. And then up here, it might be that, like often we'll have like a tickle or an itch and we touch up here. It might be that we're blocking our own communication. We're feeling or thinking something in the moment that we don't want to say. And so physically, we're prompted to block that. It's great to know these things about ourselves. We want to be in touch with the messages of what we're seeing and feeling. Even if we choose to not say it, we might want to know. And clues like this give us information about other people. So there's information like this that I'm reading about you to help you be you. You be more in touch with you, be authentic, choose what you want to share in the world, choose choices that are in alignment with who you are, ideally, how to navigate the situations you're in and how to step towards more alignment. Oh, that is me, Laureli Shimayo, and I'll have my information in the chat as well with everyone else. And I have a special today that is $50 off my Learn to Read Eyes course. So that's $145 for about 15 hours of course. All right. We are here today gathered because we are together in a panel on achieving healthy lifestyle balance. We came up with this theme, Stephanie really came up with this theme because of the event that she is running in a couple of weeks. And I think let's have Stephanie maybe start off a bit of the conversation about the theme, and then practitioners, we're going to allow like all of us to jump in if you specifically want to get in line, knowing that you want to share a whole bunch. Maybe go ahead and raise your hand in Zoom, or let's see if we can just do some popcorn and have us jump in as we want you to talk about the theme. I want everyone to have an opportunity to talk about the theme. Don't worry about taking too much time. I think there's just a ton to say, and I don't think we have any questions in line at the moment, so we got a little bit of time. I just turned on the transcript too, if anyone wants the transcript, and I'll put the information again about how to pay for a question. And yeah, Zoe, this is one of our panels where we don't have the audience share. We're having the practitioners talk about the theme. All right. All right, let's see. So yeah, Stephanie, go ahead and start talking about the theme a little bit and like what this came from. And yeah, and then we'll all have a chance to jump in.
Okay. Well, I am actually currently working on a book called The Art of Balance in a World of Chaos. And this has basically been my life's work. I have been on my own healing journey for the last 24 years, and I've learned quite a bit about healing and why we don't heal, why we get blocked, why we stay blocked, and why we move forward. And so I realized that a lot of people are really struggling right now. I recently learned a term called complex trauma, which basically, I mean, we all have trauma in our lives, but complex trauma is when you have trauma over a period of time, which a lot of us, because of COVID, actually have complex trauma in our energy because of that experience. And so I felt that balance speaks volumes to that. It also helps in almost every single aspect of our lives. Just having balance in every single aspect creates more peace, more happiness, more joy, and it is so worth the effort to get in balance. So that is basically the reason for this theme, and the reason that I chose the theme for my event coming up in a couple weeks.
That's great. And I put information in the chat so everyone can see about the conference that's coming up. And all right, great. I'll update a special. All right. So is Felicia, are you wanting to go next? Is that what are you appreciating? Okay, yeah, great. You're totally using the right hand. I know Satora said you had a ton of things you want to share. Do you want to go next? But like we can go in whatever order we all can. Yay.
So who's going? Do you
If you
want to
want to,
go?
you can.
Felicia?
I think Felicia was applauding and celebrating, and I agreed with
Okay.
Stephanie's share.
Yeah, so balance is something that I'm still learning and have learned over many years. To me, balancing starts with centering, and I want to invite you all to join me with this. This is a Shin application. Everybody knows this, the prayer hands. If we do it in a way that the pads of the fingers touch each other and the palms touch each other, and usually people put it in front of the heart. You can put it in front of wherever you feel, like maybe in front of your throat if you feel you want more balance in expressing. And just take a few deep breaths. And this is not only a gesture of respect and thanks and prayer, it also has an effect on our energy field and our nervous system. It is balancing. It helps us to center and calm. So that is something you could do. Just take a moment, or maybe one breath or two or three before you start something or go into a situation, or just when you remember. A very simple thing to do also before sleep or in the morning. So yeah, when we are centered and we tap into that center calm that's in all of us, we all have that flow within us where source flows through us, source energy, and source is within us. Some call it higher self, call it divine spark, call it whatever you want. It's within us. And when we tap into that, first of all, we recharge and we kind of plug in our cord, for the energy of the day before we go running. Imagine you're a vacuum cleaner and you try to run and clean the whole house without plugging in the cord. That doesn't work very well. So for us, centering and tapping into that source is a great start for anything, and especially the day. And so life balance, that is a good start, to start with a balanced life. And of course, a balanced life, I guess it's the basics, we all know it. You need some exercise, good food, rest, self-care. So I'm not going to speak to that. What I noticed with myself was during COVID, I got out of balance. I went into a sedentary lifestyle. I spent a lot of time in front of the screen. I'm usually a dancer, and I used to dance several times a week for like an hour or more. I stopped doing that and hardly ever danced. And usually I do stretches before I dance, so that stopped too. I gained a lot of weight and stuff started hurting in my body that hadn't hurt, and it's generally really uncomfortable. So now I'm on my way back out of that. And what I want to say is it's very natural. For me in my life, it has happened several times that I got into a lifestyle that wasn't very balanced. And we can always change that in a gentle way. Not like, okay, from now on, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour, 5 days a week. That may not be realistic if you're just coming from a sedentary lifestyle of not doing very much. So I usually do it like, okay, I'm actually gonna walk. Okay, I'm gonna walk up these steep stairs now and make that an exercise, just starting gently and gradually. And so bringing balance is also watching, what do we do a lot? Where is there an imbalance? So the easiest example that comes to mind is if you work in front of the computer and you do a lot of work like that, and you look down and you look at your eyes. So a thing to activities to create balance would be getting up and stretching, putting your arms that are usually always this way out, stretching the fingers, looking out and looking far away, looking to the sky instead of at a screen, to give our body the whole experience and not just this one thing. So if we are very one-sided in one activity, we lose, over time, we lose the other mobility. We lose, I'm looking for words. I hope you understand. So that is something very simple. It doesn't have to be something really big, but just watching in our life, where are things where we heavily lean towards one thing. So if our work requires us to sit a lot, it's a good idea to move around. Or if we read the news a lot and are impacted by that, it's a good idea to find something funny and uplifting and give ourselves that kind of mental nutrition and input. Yeah. So that's all I can think of right now.
That's great. We'll
in
have a chance
terms
to
of
come
life
back.
balance.
Yeah, you'll have a chance to come back and share more too. Great. All right. Anyone else want to jump in and share about, healthy lifestyle balance?
I can share.
Sure. Great. Go ahead.
Well, I really believe that balance is the key to just about everything, right? So if we don't have balance in our lives with with our physical life, we don't have balance between the mental, the physical, and the spiritual, right? So we need balance in all of that, and we need balance between sedentary lifestyle and exercise. And, you know, we need to not go crazy with all those things as well. So a good balance and a good, a good happy medium, I guess, is great with everything that there is. So one of the ways that I go about that, and one of the ways that I keep myself happy, is singing. So I encourage everybody else to sing as well. That keeps me in a good balance. It keeps my mind not doing this a spin into Never Never Land or wherever it goes. And I also get some exercise every day, even if I'm on vacation. So I took a short vacation and went up into the mountains, way up into the mountains at about 7,000 feet. And but just about a week and a half ago. And I super enjoyed myself up there. I couldn't believe how much energy I had to go running around, which sounds a little weird since I live at 4,000 feet, but it was super fun for me to just go and explore and not have to worry about every little thing about life, you know? So that was a good time for me to just get some exercise, experience nature, drop all the stuff that I carry around for everybody else. And I did get to go to the medicine wheel that's in Wyoming, close to Level, Wyoming. It's not terribly far from me. And I got to really commune with the spirits there and allow that energy to come into me, as well as sending that lovely energy out to the people that I knew that were sick and needed healing, especially my Lakota mentor. So I am super excited to be on this to help you all achieve a little more balance in your life and bring that about. So thank you for having me here. I'm loving it.
Thanks, Marcia. Right, who else wants to share about achieving healthy lifestyle balance? Go ahead. Yeah, Felicia.
Aloha, everyone. So yes, this is definitely a topic that resonates with me. I remember a time that I was driving down the road because I just had this whole argument with my husband. And I said, okay, Emmanuel, you're going to have to take the wheel. Mind you, I'm driving at this stoplight, right? And that's when I realized my life was out of balance. And so I came up with different techniques in order to help bring my life back into balance. One of those things is that I was always working hard. I didn't even switch to working smart, but I had to learn how to live smart. And what that meant for me was see myself and awakened, master my emotions, ask, believe, and receive, relax, relate, and release, and talk wisely and ascend. Those are all like little steps that I do in order to bring balance back into my life. Another thing is that I also tapped into my spiritual team. So here, this little image that's over my shoulder, that's always like kind of with me in my images and background, is my aunt. And that she is all about the whole balance. And so I have physical reminders in my space as well, because she had the whole philosophy of when you're measuring the dead, they balance your heart with this whole feather to determine if you're going to be able to go and, go into the ascension of great journeys, right? Of the afterworld was balanced based off of that. So I have that as a physical reminder in my space. And then one of the other things I enjoy doing is that I have essential oils because it's about the smell. And I actually have one that says balance. So, I take these, I rub them in my hand, I smell them. The kind of reminder, and Satora was sharing, putting them in my nose and my heart and all those different things. So those are just some of the practical tips in order to maintain balance, a healthy balance in my life.
Great. Anyone else want to share? Sue, do you want to share a little bit? Should I jump in? What do you want to?
Go for it, Lola.
Okay, sure. So, oh gosh, some of the things that occur to me in thinking about balance. I'm thinking of balance in general, too. To me, balance is something that while it might be sustainable in that moment with what's true in that moment, balance really includes flow, because to me, there's always change, right? So spontaneity and chaos. And so balance is this floating, moving, shifting thing. I love that someone brought up imbalance. I think that imbalance is much easier for us to see and feel than balance. Maybe balance is kind of something that we chase or stalk. We might know it when we're experiencing it, and then do we know all the subtleties of when we're out of balance, or when things around us are out of balance? So I think our opportunities are choices towards balance and away from balance. And balance is different for different contexts, right? So what might be in balance for me today might not be in balance for me tomorrow, might not be in balance for my neighbor, right? And I think of what's in balance for me also in the context of my environment. So for example, I know I use way too much plastic in too many things, and that's not in balance in my environment. So probably the lifestyle choices I'm making where I use the plastic, they're really not in balance of me either. So I think that we can take clues from around us to guess as to whether things are in balance for ourselves. So I'll give you an example of, well, let's say just like food types. So there are suggestions that for different food types, eating different foods is more healthy for us and helps us stay in balance. So I have type O, and I believe we generally eat more protein than other types. My partner also is type O, and she just realized she needs to eat more protein. So sleep would be another factor. Typically, I think people, like it's recommended, the suggestion is that in balance is like 7 or 8 hours a night. And my partner, though, like really needs 9 or 10 hours a night. And I'm genetically what's called a short sleeper. So I really only need like 6 hours a night. Now I tend to push that out of balance, and I often only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And I'm really lucky. I can pretty much end up seeming like I'm in balance the next day, maybe not the first hour of that day. Yeah, so but I know I'm out of balance, and I don't get too far off balance, right? So how far out of balance are we going? Maybe another example of some things. I have exercised almost every week for the last 3.5 years, which for me is a really big deal. I didn't for many, many years. Other things would like show up in my life, but I didn't have a regular rhythm. So that I do this almost every week now, really, really good. But the kind of exercise I do is really bizarre for a lot of other people. I go to a gym of sorts, and I work with big metal equipment, and I push at it for like 2 minutes at a time, only for maybe like 5 to 7 things in that a stretch in a week. And literally I'm just like pushing at metal, but I've really gotten strong and strong and strong. And I can tell that so much of my body is so much more healthy. And I'm kind of teasing about this. I'm not lifting weights, but it's kind of similar. And it's totally not the right exercise for tons of people. It would be so out of balance for who they are. Let me link this back to my, maybe something else, my physical body, and then I'll link it up to something that I think is generally true for everyone. I accidentally hit my head 3 weeks ago now, and gave myself probably a slight concussion, and oh my gosh, the compaction. I was like, oh, what a mess. So I finally took myself to the chiropractor. I felt so much more in flow after finally seeing the chiropractor, and turned out I have not gone for the last year. So I was getting myself more and more out of balance and more stiff and more awkward all year. So simple things sometimes can do a lot to get us back in balance. I wouldn't say I'm in balance yet, and I'm so much more because all these parts of me can flow so much more. And then, oh yeah, I sit a lot, but I sit on a ball. So at least I'm bouncy and movie all day. So this helps me be in balance, even though I'm sitting here with my arms out. And there was one more thing I was going to say. Oh yeah. So one of the things I do is I read people's souls in their eyes, right? So one of the traits I look at are 7 talents, where I describe each person as having 3. But for example, I'm someone that loves to learn. So I need to learn enough and play with my knowing to be in balance. Someone else that loves play and fun and community needs to be in enough community to be in balance. Someone that feels emotions really deeply, they need to have enough emotional flow and connection around emotions to be in balance. So for each of us, it's a different thing that's in balance. And I think the common state of flow and responsiveness in all forms, right? All kinds of axes, that's balance. And it's a changing, morphing, shifting thing, right? away and towards and away and towards. And being a healthy, organic being, our aim is to be in that flow. Those are some of my thoughts. And I find it ironic that I'm on the panel about achieving healthy lifestyle balance, because in many ways, I know what it's like to be out of balance, less than I know what it's like to be in balance. At least I guess I have some awareness about it, and that's part of what I'm contributing today. Who else wants to share? Go ahead, Sue.
So balance has not always been my friend, right? It's one of the reasons I wanted to be here today is because talking about health and balance. Being in touch with my physical body is something that I had to become very aware and consciously practice. And as I started doing that, I started becoming more aware of what I needed. So that was a really big clue for me. And I went through quite a few years in my life not even understanding it. I do this because I'm comforting myself. I eat certain foods because that's comforting to me. I didn't have that concept of what the balance looked like. I would just eat 2 gallons of ice cream because it felt great to me. So it was just such a, I didn't understand that it was a concept. To me, it was like, well, you just do what feels good and then you don't do what makes you feel yucky, right? So this is why the concept of balance is so fascinating. Centering, like I love everything that you guys are talking about. Centering is so important. It changes my behavior. It changes everything. It changes the way I speak. Like when I first got on the call, I had just come back home with my dinner. I was hungry. I was not centered. I was not grounded. And it was obvious in the way I was talking. So that awareness of it, it's like, okay, well, I need to ground, I need to balance, I need to set. So all these things is like why I wanted to be here today. It's like the health part of the metaphysical part of it. So that is what the concept of balance is to me. Like I can meditate for 2 hours and not even come back for like another 9 hours. And at the same time, I can be human for 9 hours and not connect. And then I'm again ungrounded because I'm too much in the human aspect of things. So it's a very interesting balance that I am now learning to keep in my own personal life. So I would love to talk to anybody who has any questions about it. And I love the part about having physical representations of reminders. Like it's so important. And to me, it was one of the ways I was like, okay, when I see this, I'm going to do this. I started writing. In fact, I don't know if you guys can see it. I started writing on myself. And that was one of the ways I was like, reminders to myself to, okay, breathe, okay, eat, okay, walk, okay, do this. So that's my 2 cents on that. Thank you.
That's great. Great. Anyone else? Anything else you want to jump in and share about, achieving healthy lifestyle balance, noticing imbalance, whatever we want to share about that.
Okay, I thought of something. If nobody else wants, I had this thing this summer. Sometimes I go into over efforting, which doesn't necessarily mean I achieve a lot or I work a lot. It's just a mindset of I have to do. So I live in a 2-bedroom apartment and my child moved away. So because of the rent, I thought I need a roommate. So I went to search for a roommate, but I was also very picky about it because I have to live with the person. So like 2 or 3 months, I was ads and interviews and this and that, and I was really stressed out about it, and I was stressed out about creating a bill. I got into a total stress mode, and I kept hitting my little right toe. I love to walk barefoot, so my feet sometimes get injured, but that was like extreme. I hit it once and it was bleeding like nobody's business, and I I got really scared. I actually canceled the trip I was gonna do. And then just a week later, I it was just healing, and I hit it again, and it happened like 3 or 4 times. I was like, "What is happening here?" And I thought about Louise Hayes and small little toe, worried about the little things and stuff like that. I was like, nah, that's not it. And then I remembered in the Chin Shin, it is about the 5 elements, and they are represented in our fingers and in our toes also. And the little toe is the fire element, and fire element is when it's imbalanced, is over efforting, is like trying really, really hard and totally out of balance. And then it clicked, man. And it was the right side, right? The right side is the active and doing side. Yeah, I'm totally over it. I didn't even know. I've done it for months, but I didn't even realize I was doing it. And my little toe, poor little toe, had to take this, gave me these messages. Hey, something's out of balance here. So, the point of the story being, there are messages when we are really serious or even slightly out of balance, but also more out of balance, we get messages from our body, from our environment, or what happens when accidents happen. That is usually a sign that something's really out of balance. So, yeah, I wanted to add that there is feedback that helps us navigate and realize it's not it's something bad. It's just uh, it's life or our body helping us realizing what's happening so we can course correct. It's like when you drive your car and you get on the strip where it starts to rumble, then you just turn around and drive back into the lane instead of keeping on that course where you would end up somewhere where you don't want to be. So it's feedback. Yeah.
Yep, I love this idea of feedback, and I know Sue had something to say.
Yeah, can I ask a quick question? My left toe, it's not even my toe, it's like the joint. That hurts every once in a while out of nowhere. What is that about? Like, what is the message there? Can I ask this question, please?
Go ahead, Satora, since you have some wisdom of the toes.
The
Yeah, what did you
little
learn?
toe?
Yeah, the big toe on my left foot.
The
And
big
it
toe?
doesn't like it'll hurt like once a month, just a little bit, and then it's gone.
Yeah, so the big toe and the thumb are related to the earth element.
Oh,
And the earth
grounded, of
element
course.
are related to the stomach meridian and the spleen meridian. So you could just hold your thumb or hold that toe, but holding the thumb is easier in that case, and also feel into it. But it has to do with the earth element.
Thank you.
And that has to do with worry, with lack of confidence when it's imbalanced. On the emotional side is worry and yeah, lack of confidence, self-doubt.
That's amazing. Thank you, Satora.
You're welcome.
Great. I was going to say, like sucking our thumb. A lot of us sucked our thumb when we were little. Like I sucked my thumb for a long time. Turned out I stopped the same year that my mother stopped sucking her thumb. We both had a ton of trauma. Then her sister sucked her big toe. So yeah. So ways we impact our energy, attempt to soothe our energy, or attempt to bring ourselves back to center. Yeah. When you were talking about feedback, I was thinking about the theory that everything is feedback, right? Always feedback. And so there might be like some theoretical balance that would be good. And so I think if I'm in more balance, then things are easier. I have what I need in a way that's in balance for me, not out of balance for my environment or for others. And if I happen to receive more than I know how to be in balance with, even if it would be in balance for me, right? Out of my imbalance, I do something to create that messy, right? To have that be messy, or to stop that flow. Or so there's what's in balance for me the way I am now, and what's theoretically in more balance, and how I might go there, how I might get there, allow that to be. Well, I think that we might not have any questions at the moment. So we can, for example, if we on the panel, and if anyone has anything more to share about balance, go ahead.
I would totally love to talk about balance.
Well, I just want to say, just so we have some options, and I need to say some things before we do start answering questions. We can always ask questions ourselves on the panel. We could just decide that since we don't have a lot of people today, that we're doing some special freebie thing, and people can ask questions by donation, and it doesn't have to be on the same price scale, or we can just make up whatever we want. Okay, you want to say more things about balance? Go ahead.
No, it's this thing about every message is the right message, right? Like it's you have to listen to the messages you're getting. You cannot just be like, no, it's just my right toe that's hurting. Like my toe hurts like once a month, like for the last 2-3 months. And it's such a profound message, So I feel like every message is the right message. It's just a question of how open are we to actually get the message, to be like, okay, I'm feeling this. Is there any relevance to this feeling that I'm having, or am I just reacting to something? So it's all of that. And that's the beauty of this work that we do, right? It's that awareness of, yeah, it's the left toe, but there is more to it than that.
Right, like I'm having a little bug bite thing going on inside my left hand. So yeah, so what does it mean? Do I let the meaning come in? And what is it that my left hand? And when am I overthinking it? Okay. So what is the balance of all that? Yeah. Well, yeah, so let me say this.
And like if I
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to set the container and just talk about the things that I do before we answer questions, just if we want to go there. But yeah, if you want to say something else, go ahead.
No, and this is the thing I was, we even with all the awareness and consciousness that we like try to like live our lives in, right? It's still some things that we like human in. And then we're like, we need those messages. We need the messages. We need somebody to be like, hey, calm down, put your hands together, get centered. And it helps so much to have these conversations with the third person who is not in your bubble, and they can give you that insight of, okay, this is what you need to focus on. This is where you need to go, which might help you. Because in the end, we're all our own masters. We wrote this story. But it helps to get that insight and then go from there.
It's great. By the way, we're getting some appreciation in the chat. Thank you so much. Maybe let me say a little more explicitly about some of the like abundance and scarcity sort of thing I was tapping into a little bit. I know that I have lessons to receive more. I have lessons to, like, I sometimes charge different people different amounts. I have some sliding scales and things like that. I make some choices about how much I'm willing to receive, how much I want to give. I have lessons in allowing myself to receive more. And some people might have lessons in like they're greedy and their opportunities to not take as much. So there's just a whole range of ways and places where we all have lessons. Let's see. So a general question: what is too much in regards to the physical, and what is just adjustment period stuff? Oh. Well, I think of that as like if something is out of balance, what is the coming into balance? And I'm particularly thinking of physical things. So what is in terms of flow, like if there's not a perfect the whole time, maybe in theory there's a navigating, flowing, exactly. But if like realistically we don't do that, what is kind of knocking too far off balance, or choosing whatever way, finding ourselves too far off balance? And then what is the adjustment, finding ourselves to balance? And what is where it's like taking much longer or it's harder on the system? So like what's the range of acceptable of balancing versus really things are off and it's more of a challenge or a problem? Maybe does that sort of get a little bit near the question? Okay, yeah, for physical things. So I'm just say just in case we end up doing some specific questions in here, this is a great opportunity to practice opening to your intuition, to see what comes through you as we talk about all these topics. For those of you not on the panel, it's for us on the panel too. And if you're not on the panel, and we may do this a little differently today, in general, we ask you to keep your insight to yourself. And then after someone is done having a question answered, you're welcome to connect with them in private chat and see if they want to hear what came through you too. Please honor whatever they share. They might feel full. They might not want to hear, trust it came through you for another reason. And also when we're answering any question, if we go, this is your question, we go deeper than you want us to go, we talk about topics you don't want us sharing about here, given that this is recorded and public, please feel free to interrupt us and give us guidance. We want to honor you in our responses. So yeah, we're happy to explore and talk about some more general topics around all this balance. And if anyone does want to pay for a question, please go ahead and do that and let us know after you've paid. There's information in the chat. And we can totally do an even greater sliding scale today. If you kind of want to ask a question, you don't want to pay as much and all that, we can be somewhat flexible today. So, all right, let's go back to this general question about balancing and where are we sufficiently in balance, and with physical things in particular, when we're off and coming back in, what is a good amount of coming back in, and there's some adjustment phase, and what is where we're just too far off, or it's taking too long to come back in, it's too hard. Felicia.
Aloha. So when I thought about this physically, I wanted to give maybe a visual example of what this may look like as far as a flow and balance, and then dealing with chaos or different situations. And so having lived in Hawaii, people are very familiar with surfers. So when surfers go out, they are, in essence, balancing themselves on their surfboard, right? Yet they are navigating all the different waves. And then there are different waves to where it might just be, they get the little warning ahead of time, hey, the winds are really this, or turtles don't do this and all that, right? So they go out and they kind of have to decide if I'm still going to go out there, am I going to go out really far, or what the case may be. And so that's kind of like that visual reminder for me, is that we go out and we're balancing on the surfboard. So you got to figure out what is your surfboard, right? Physically, of what you can manage, what you can navigate. But then you also have to decide the weather and how much of a flow and all that. And we've seen it to where people are physically, y'all seen those movies. They're like in the big spiral and they're going through the middle of it and they're just as smooth. And then you can be bumped off by a itty bitty little thing. But as we talk about the physical, you then even have to adjust. Somebody that was a surfer maybe in their 20s is going to surf differently than later on, maybe if they're in their 40s and their body has changed and they're doing all those different things. So that's still like kind of that reminder of what is going on with your body. Yeah, I used to be able to do this surf a long time ago, but my body need to adjust. So we always just have to be doing this like self-reflection. We've also seen surfers that, they might have their dog in front of them on the surfboard. You got to learn how to balance that. So it's just encourage you to be aware of what's your body is saying, what your environment is saying, and all of that, and then just figuring out the best way to enjoy the ride of life. So I hope that was encouraging for you.
No, that's great. Yeah, and I think surfing is a great example. Like if the person is wanting to not only be standing, they want to also be having fun, and they want to be moving in a particular pace and rate. And so that got me thinking about my ball. So I've been sitting in a ball for a little over 20 years, every day. And I remember when I finally got it so that I could sit with my feet up in the air, and, different balls, different amounts of being blown up and different squishiness. It's very different. But I got so that I could sit on a ball that was blown up and just have my feet up and with my arms and just keep myself balanced. I could do it for longer and longer. And as I mentioned, I've been doing all this working out for so many years, and I keep getting stronger and stronger. And I've tried to kneel on my ball before, and I've been able to do it a little bit, but not for very long. And then all of a sudden, about 2 weeks ago, I realized that I can kneel on my ball. And so I am kneeling on my ball, and I can even bounce on my ball, and I'm holding myself with my feet, and I totally can just wiggle around here on my ball. So part of balance too is that it's not like just perfectly balanced. If I were just sitting here, I might be balanced, but I'm not having fun, and I'm not being able to check out what my body can do. right? So again, balance is different depending on what's wanted and the systems that are here. So physically, right? So I feel a little bit of tension right now. It's a little hard on one part of my leg. And I feel some things that are going to hurt a little bit when I get off, but I'm imagining, sensing it's not going to hurt for very long. So this gets back to the question of how far off physically. And I really could hurt myself here. I got to be paying attention also. Like I bogged my head just a few weeks ago. So I could hurt myself. So I'm have to be aware and attending to enough of what's around me and how my body's feeling and the history, like having that into some of the calculation. Yeah, and so I'm going to come back down, and I don't think I'm going to hurt for too long. Yeah, so all of it depends on context and history and what we're wanting and how much stretch and growth we want. Yeah. Anyone else have more? Oh, go ahead, Stephanie.
Yeah, actually, something that Felicia said sparked something, and I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so we're in the middle of like 6 different planetary retrogrades, right? And so energetically, we are getting thrown all over the place by the planets, but then I also am deeply affected when there's solar flares, if there's really intense weather, like really, really high winds yesterday, and I was physically feeling the wind in my energy. Like I'm inside the house and I could feel the energy of the wind outside. It was trippy. But that is something that I've realized over the last, I'd say in the last year, that I'm not just affected by what's going on around me and the people and the interactions and everything else. I'm also affected by the planet quite a bit. And so I think energetically, that's something to be aware of, that if you're feeling off, what's going on with the planet? Just ask, what else is going on out here? Is there something else that's messing with my balance? Because actually it might be solar flares. Personally, if there's really intense solar flares, I don't sleep well. I get headaches. Like my energy gets all funky. I get pissy, like grouchy. And I'm like a happy, bubbly person. So for me to get grouchy, there has to be something going on. So I think as far as understanding our stressors and what our triggers are, sometimes we don't even know what our triggers are. Sometimes it takes a little bit of effort with self-introspection or journaling or talk therapy or, talking to one of the beautiful healers on this panel, finding out what exactly is in your energy field, what exactly is getting me stuck. Because sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And we just need a little nudge, a little reminder, hey, this is something you didn't know about yourself. And here's some tools on how to start resolving that. So that is, I think, very relevant to the concept of balance, but more from an energetic standpoint, but also just from an awareness place of being more mindful and paying attention when things feel off. Ask why. Don't just let it be off. Ask why. And a lot of times your body has intelligence. You can ask your body, why does my stomach feel this way? Or why do I feel out of balance somehow? There's so much intelligence in our body. A lot of times we just need to ask the question. So I think that's it for now. Thanks.
Great. So part of what you bring up is, so what is balance? And then the patience with coming back into balance is different when there are no solar flares, when there are solar flares, whether you're in Florida right after Ian has come through, etc. Right? Context is different. Marcia and then Satora.
Yeah. So as far as I was wanting to look at what you asked again. How much is too much? I guess after I check in, then and I get an answer, then I can figure out how much is too much for me, if we are going through some of these things where we need an adjustment period. You might have gone through some kind of major healing, and it might have been going to like a chiropractor, a massage therapist that threw you into this kind of healing crisis. And you went through extra pain trying to get through the healing, and when we do have deep emotional healing, we do sometimes go through healing crises that can be explained that way. But the thing is, you need to really be aware of whether it's a healing crisis, whether it's going to just pass. I would give it, if you think it is a healing crisis, I would give it a day or two and maybe contact the person you got the healing from so that they know that something's going on, for one, and that, possibly they can help you right away. Because I know I've told people that, if you feel like you're going through a healing crisis after this healing, I need to know right away because I can take care of it right away and I can help you get out of that. So don't hesitate to go back to whoever you went to in the first place if it is a healing crisis. But as well, we need to be really aware of our bodies, right? And know when things are out of balance enough to cause physical pain, and whether it has more to do with the environment or more to do with, I personally feel like everything has to do with emotion. Every single thing. I don't care whether it's environmental or not. If you didn't have an imbalance in your emotions, it wouldn't become physical. So like some of us could live in a nuclear, close to something nuclear, a nuclear accident, where we could be affected, but the next person over doesn't get affected at all. So that's, I believe, how those things happen. So being very aware and really asking yourself inside, where is this coming from? And how can I get rid of it? And it might be that you want to do something like automatic writing to get that answer from your own guides, or it might be that you want to see somebody like me or anybody on the rest of the panel and really get the answers that you need because you're stuck and you can't really figure it out yourself. But I encourage everyone to try to figure it out yourself before you go see anybody else, because really that it is your power, and I encourage people to really stand in their power and not give it away all the time. So, and good to see you, Verna.
Yeah, it's that we have our answers. Yeah. Marcia, I think that's what you're saying. Like, come by checking with ourselves. Like, we know our answers. Yeah. Satora.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So the question, Verna, is that I'm going to answer it in relationship to maybe exercise and physical exertion, if that's part of the question. I think there is well, listen to your own feedback, as Marcia said. Your body gives you feedback, and I think there is a huge, often if you're a generally healthy person and you don't have a serious condition, there is a good bandwidth to experiment with before you can do too much of something or do harm to yourself. For example, if you start exercising, just don't do anything extreme, but it is good to work up a sweat, for example, but not a sweat for maybe an hour. That might be too much if you haven't done anything for 2 years, mostly sedentary. So it is an experimentation and just avoiding extremes in as much as possible. Sometimes we get into a situation that is extreme, like you break a leg or you have an illness that confines you to bed for a long time, and then it's totally out of balance. But usually in that situation, there is also professional help to tell you, to help you move out of that and move back into balance. So I think it's good to not be afraid to experiment within parameters that aren't extreme. Just don't do anything extreme, like from 0 to 100. It's not a race, just being gentle. And a little bit of I'm I'm probably tending to less pushing now, but I used to push a lot when I was younger. And yeah, I'm still here and I'm pretty healthy. So I think just check your body. If you start feeling better overall, maybe after not doing any exercise for a long time, a person might be really tired after doing a little exercise for the first few days, but if the overall energy comes back gradually and you start feeling better, then you're on the right path. Yeah, and just don't be afraid to experiment.
Just an analogy I'm using as you share this, and I don't always jump in this much, but I'm jumping in today. The 0 to 10 scale of pain. So Satora, as you're talking about like what's too much. So I think that a lot of people say like 7 is like too much. Do something about it when it's 7. Like 6 is not good. You might want to do things, but 7 is like a really big deal. So in stretching with anything, leaning into anything, like getting up into the 4, 5, 6 zones, like that's right. That starts to get to be maybe too much. So being aware of one's maybe too much as we gauge. It depends what impact we're wanting too. Right, we might only want like a 1 or a 2 of something, or we might want a 6 of something. Right, you know what we're experiencing, it might feel like a 6 in the context of other things, or it might feel like a 3 in the context of something else. Yeah, and I know you talked about like coming back. I know when I think that maybe when if with something that's very impactful, if we go out into like the 7, 8, 9 territory of something, it might take longer to come back. Like some of it might be really quick, and then it might take longer than going out to a 3 or 4 and coming back. But again, it depends. It depends how resourceful we are. So I think that the answer to your question of when are we coming back quickly enough, and when is we're not coming back into balance enough? Like when is there something else maybe to look at? It's just such a different answer for every context, maybe. Like, and again, if we don't have enough joy and capacity for other things, like maybe then it's taking too long. Sue has more to share.
I'm going to say this a little differently. So first, I would say define what is normal for you. If it is normal to walk a mile every day, then that's normal, right? You have to define what the normal is. You walk a mile every day and your left toe always hurts once you're done. That's normal. You come home and you're hungry and you crave a glass of cold milk. That's normal. So define what the normal is. Then you walk a mile and a half and you see how you feel. And then you figure out why you're feeling what you're feeling. If you generally get tired and that makes you cranky and that makes you reactive, then that's your normal. And the beauty of this is you can always break it down. Like, why is that your normal? Is it something because it happened, you did when you were 16 or when you were 99 years old? And then you can edit it, right? And that gives your emotional reaction time to cope with what is happening to you physically. And then you keep changing it and you keep playing with it. And then you can take it where you want it to go. Like if you want to be able to get on your knees on a bouncing ball, you set that goal, that intention of where you want to go to. And that helps with getting there faster or quicker or easier or with more grace. So it's the whole, as you're going through the whole thing, become aware of the emotions. Like it's true, everything is emotions. So that's how you can like play with that. Thank you. Hope that helps.
That's great. And I was seeing the chat, Felicia is now getting her ball. Right? Because chances are there's some feelings she felt in her body, some sensations in her body, or maybe it was emotional experience of joy and watching the bouncing and like wanting that and desiring that and wanting play. Right? It could be all kinds of different things. Yeah. Right, Marcia, wishing you had yours. Yeah. It's just such an interesting question. So I was thinking of my workouts. So my workouts are designed for building muscle, and I believe that the ideal place that my trainer wants me to get to is in the 2 minutes. It's just 2 minutes. Is like right at the end of the 2 minutes, my muscles are just starting to give way. So it requires more effort to accomplish the same amount of pressure. And if I get there before the 2 minutes, then it's too much. And if I don't get there, it's not enough. Now, I don't always make it exactly to that point. I think that's the point I'm aiming for, because my goal is to build muscle. So again, it just depends on the context. You know, and I now, just my workouts, I now have this weird experience where sometimes my muscles swell and get all puffy for like 2 minutes or so afterwards. It's the weirdest thing. And it's evidently because I am doing so much intensity, which some people might say is really not good. Seems like it's okay. I haven't hurt myself. I'm still wondering. Yeah. So is it too much? Is it not enough? And I come back quickly enough. So I appreciate the come back quickly enough kind of thing. Like I broke my arm when I was a little kid. I broke my arm in 2 places, and who knows what other soft tissue damage I did. And I still can't use my arm the way I'd like to be able to use my arm. So that one didn't come back quickly enough, but it came back enough that it's okay, that right hasn't interfered in my life so much. But yeah, some things don't come back. We're changed. Things are different. You know, my mom got hit by a train when I was junior high, elementary school, and the doctors told her she'd never be able to use her arm again. And it's great. She's stubborn. I got some of her being stubborn. I appreciate that. And people that met her like by a couple of years after would never know that she hurt herself. We could still tell. I mean, she had scar tissue, she had muscle missing and things like that, but she could use her arm really well. So she came back really well in that one. And you know, she came back enough. Yeah. And then speed. I think that if one's really asking that question, there's concern about it. Like, is this enough? And it sort of suggests to me that something's out of balance if one's asking the question. And it could be that the person is impatient, and that's the thing that's out of balance. But if you know that something's out of balance, maybe if the question's being asked.
There is so much about like the boundaries or the ceilings that we create for ourselves, right? It's like, if I can power through the pain, it's okay. But if I feel like, oh my God, there's mosquitoes out there, I'm not going to go out there for a walk. Like it's these boundaries that we also set for ourselves. You know, I can't be in the sun walking around for 30 miles. Like, it's just not something I'm going to do. And we don't, you know? So it's also that.
All right, any more comments on this question of, are we coming back enough or quickly enough? Or yeah. And there's someone new joining that hasn't joined yet. Sorry for the redundancy in the chat. Yeah, thanks for being here. Happy to have you here. Someone that has to go. All right, so we're taking general questions, and we're open to questions on an even greater sliding scale than our suggestion. Yeah. And panelists, if you have a specific question for the audience, please go ahead. And I decided I was out of balance of the amount that my hand was starting to sting and burn. So I put goo on my hand, right? So I made a choice of too much out of balance. So now I have to watch what I put my hand on. So now I have that awkwardness of out of balance to pay attention to. And it feels better to have stuff on my hand. We're endlessly making these choices, right? Am I thirsty enough? Do I want to have this on screen? Do I want to take a drink right now? Is it dark enough? Do I want to turn on the light? Do I want to see myself more? Do I want you all to see me more? We're endlessly making choices about balance. And mostly they're subconscious and tons of them are conscious. I know this isn't just lifestyle balance, Stephanie, but these are all balance things. Yeah, you seem like you're great with the direction we're going. You know, how long has it been since I was on a MeWe panel? Am I wanting to go back? It's a question of balance.
Well, I that is the thing. I mean, everything in our life can be balanced or out of balance. So it's like, if you look at your whole entire life as a holistic thing, and like, this is something that I used to do as a wellness coach. I would tell people, look at your whole entire being, everything. And that's overwhelming for people. Like, I don't want to look at my entire life. What are you talking about? And so it's almost like we have to see things in almost like a focused view. You see that one thing that's out of balance and it starts to bug you, and then it's enough that you want to do something about it, and then maybe it's enough that you need to start talking about it with someone, and then you're finally ready to actually take action and do something. So like, it takes time for us to really make decisions sometimes, especially if it's a big decision or a big change or just a lifestyle shift. I mean, we get very comfortable. We like to take the easy route. We like to take the most comfortable way of doing things. And sometimes those comfortable ways are not the way that our body needs to be. Sometimes it's like, you need to put yourself in discomfort first in order to get to balance. So you have to force yourself in some cases to like make yourself uncomfortable to create more balance in your lifestyle. By like, I don't do cardio. I go for walks. I have a dog. I walk him 4 times a day. We walk for about 15 minutes each time. So that's a whole hour of walking. That's enough for me. I do yoga twice a week, like no cardio whatsoever in my life, and I'm okay with that. If I wanted to push myself to do cardio though, it would take some time to get comfortable. So I'd have to be uncomfortable in the gym. I'd have to go and force myself to do it. Sometimes it takes that much effort to actually make change that is a healthy change. So it really, I mean, what Laureli was saying about the context really does make a difference.
And I'm say, like, thinking about my exercise, right? So on the one hand, like, I'm lazy. I just know I'm lazy. I tease I'm lazy. So I only do cardio like 5 minutes, 7 minutes a week, right? But I drive an hour to get to this place. Of course, I have a great companion on the drive now, but who's here today. Yeah, Satora, go ahead.
I just remembered something while we're still on the physical. I listened to this TED talk once. A friend got me onto this, where this lady, and I haven't found the TED talk, otherwise I would probably put the link in there. She talked about exercise and movement, and this is not to miss exercise. Exercise is really important, but what she said, that in our modern lives, where our life circumstances get more and more convenient, many of us sit on at the desk all day or stand. The range of movements that we do in our daily life becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. Some of us even have other people clean the house. Hardly anybody does gardening anymore. And all these, life used to be where you would do all those things yourself and move your body in all kinds of ways. And now it's becoming less and less and less. And even when we do exercise, it's often repetitive movements. And so she just pointed out the importance of moving all parts of our body and doing movements that we usually don't do. So she suggested maybe put your favorite mug in a place where you have to really stretch and can hardly get to it, or put something on a cupboard down there where you have to squat and go in the corner, or just introducing movements into our life that we don't do in our limited movement daily activities.
But I'm gonna say,
So
like, when you talked about like putting it down there or up there, it's choosing a momentary out of balance for a balance more overall.
overall balance, because I mean the body is built to move. We have all these muscles and they all want to move, and it keeps our systems alive and the lymph flowing and all of that. So over time we then lose certain movements or they get restricted. So that is something that yeah, I've been thinking about it ever since. So when I dance, I always try to move everybody, every muscle in my body, do like weird movements, and you know, just just to give everything. It doesn't have to be exercise, just to use that movement, and keep this diversity and this big range of movement going. So, anyways.
And one of my teachers used to call one of the exercises creative joint play. The aim is to move everything that you can move. And when you notice you're repeating something, change that up and move something else. Notice what you're not moving, right? Or what's not moving a direction. And it's a game. And then also copying other people, because other people, chances are they move other things that you're not moving. So in choosing to copy and copy and copy, right, is expanding our movement also. Great. Yeah, thanks for being here. Someone else appreciating and signing off. Yeah. Any other questions? We all take questions tonight. It's evidently a bit of a freebie panel, so we want to enjoy our time together, and we'll go as long as we want to go. We can always end early tonight too, but yeah, I encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity for questions. And practitioners, again, if we have a question, we can ask the panel also. On balance or on anything.
Okay. If there's no question, all you practitioners, you are all having a business or creating a business. So where does balance come in there? I'm still in the creating phase and I struggle with it, the balance between making money, freebies, doing yourself, delegating. There is so much there. Do you have any input or feedback or sharing about balance when you have your own business? Especially if it's I'm a solopreneur. I think most of us are.
It's great. We can always talk about imbalance too, as our way of finding our way to balance. It's like I realized during the pandemic. So like Marcia, you wrote, so you built products for yourself, right? You got your knowledge out there. And I realized, like for me during the pandemic, I grew MeWe, and I give away a ton in MeWe. So there's not a lot that I bring back in. So I got myself to a place of out of balance. I created lots of balance and contribution and connecting with community. Like I did a ton of that. Like, so that's probably, it would be out of balance for some people that I did so much of that. And yeah, so I'm needing to bring things more back into balance, of bringing enough flow in to sustain me. I'm in that phase right now. Yeah.
I have to say that I really appreciate that you were growing MeWe at the time, because it was finally a way for me to connect again. You know, as a massage therapist, as my main business, that was totally out of bounds in Montana, you know, and probably everywhere else too. So, and until they got the boundaries set, I guess, to what we had to clean and we could open up again, I was going crazy because I didn't have human connection and I couldn't touch people and I couldn't make the contact. But I do notice that I'm not often in balance with that. And so I have to really check myself and make sure that I'm not giving away too much, that I'm not constantly in contact with people. I need to withdraw as well. I'm a human design projector. And so I need time for myself and I need time alone, but too much time alone can also kill me because because I also need to be giving back to people. So creating that balance in myself was really important during that time. And pouring myself into astrology and learning, really getting serious and learning astrology was one of the ways that I did that and created some balance with that. So, but yes, it is kind of difficult to create that balance. And I'm also one who produces festivals. So I've got a festival coming at the end of the month, and I'm finding myself needing to to balance my festival life with my day-to-day living stuff, because the more I concentrate on the festivals, the less I concentrate on bringing people in on a day-to-day basis, and I need that to sustain myself. So it has been an interesting challenge, especially lately, as far as bringing that balance into play. So I love that you're starting your own business and that you're creating it. So I encourage you to check in often, like daily, with yourself and make sure that you've got that balance going.
So I want to touch on some of the axes you mentioned. I want to list them. You talked about balance contributing, balance earning, balance with people, balance time alone. So balance in physical contact. And there was another, balance. Did I say learning? Like there's just lots of different things you talked about.
Oh,
Lots
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Felicia had something to share.
Yeah, congratulations on going on this journey, Satora. I would encourage you, as you're going to experiment and do different things in your business, I would say give yourself permission to release things that no longer serve you. As you evaluate and say, this just didn't feel high vibe, and releasing that, being okay with doing that. I would find that you think, for me, like, oh, I started something, now I promoted it, so I have to do this for so many different times, or I'm like, no, I don't. I can change this. I can flow and move on with that. Because a lot of times we'll think we get stuck and have to keep something because we marketed and promoted it for a little while. For me, it made me felt like people would think I was like, she doesn't know what she's doing. Last time she did this or she did that. Release that and just say, just transition. We moved on from that. And that will help you to really find those things that really energize you. Because even things that you enjoy and you like, there'll be times where it still is going to be tiring, but yet you enjoy doing it, right? So it's just going to be okay with releasing things that you started and you're like, I no longer want to do that anymore. And it's okay. You don't have to.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
I also noticed, I'm sorry, Laureli. I also noticed about myself that, and now I don't know if you're going to do festivals or not, but I noticed that I want to buy from everybody that's my vendor. You know, I want everybody else to buy from them too, and I want to promote them really, really well. But I just, this is one of my one of my vendors. She is amazing. But I've realized that I want to support them enough that sometimes I've gotten myself upside down and in it. So, so that's another way that I really need to check myself and make sure that I'm, that I'm not, now this is not frivolous, but I don't know if you can even see it. Maybe you can't. So it's I've been waiting for a really cool shamanic piece to come my way, and it did. So, but I've noticed that I really need to check myself and make sure that I'm not spending too much with my vendors and create balance with that too. So
So you're saying
another little
you're
part.
running festivals. That's what you're saying when you're running like fairs or festivals.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
them contributing to you to be able to run it and you wanting to buy from them too.
Mhm.
And like having that. Yeah. You want to support
Yeah.
them and you want some of the things. And
Right. Right.
great. Stephanie has something.
I have certain practices that I do with my business because I am also a solopreneur, and sometimes I feel a little crazy because there's so much that I have my hands in and so many things I'm doing, so many projects and opportunities, and just I could go a little mad, which I completely resonate with the Mad Hatter and the Cheshire Cat. But my practices, the things that really have helped me, I need a day, and it's like an entire day where it's just an admin day. I don't take meetings, I don't take phone calls, I don't answer emails, I don't do anything that is outside of admin stuff. What is my admin stuff that needs to be done? Sometimes it is answering emails, because that is kind of technically an admin task. Sometimes it's responding to phone calls, but usually it's like planning stuff, getting organized, filing, figuring out my accounting. What do I need to bill for? What do I not need to bill for? What have I, And so I actually set out a 6-day calendar. I take a day off every single week. And my 6-day calendar is it's admin on one day, I do marketing on one day, I do accounting on one day. And so it's like on those days, I know that I'm supposed to be doing this thing. And it kind of helps to organize my brain so that I'm more willing to do those things on those days. Because like if my accounting wasn't on Thursday, then I would just throw it out and I would never do my accounting, because it's my least favorite activity, right? But I need to do my accounting to receive money so that I can keep staying in business. So accounting is just something, it's just like the thing that I really don't want to do. So it's got to be in my schedule. God, there's so many things as a business owner that like you don't know until you're a business owner. You don't know whether or not you can wear 20 hats. You don't know whether or not you can function with those 20 hats and still like remember to eat. Like there are little things like, when am I going to do my laundry in this time? Is there time for me to like shower? Like, so sometimes it's about creating boundaries for yourself where you're only allowed to work for these hours. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm a workaholic. And if I overwork myself, if I work from 7 in the morning until midnight, I'm not going to be any good the next day. I got nothing left. So I had to create a schedule for myself where I am only taking meetings between 10 and 7. That is my time frame for my business. I don't care if it's the middle of the day, and I am not getting up at 5 a.m. I don't have to take any meetings at 8 a.m. because I am not allowed to do that anymore. So like there's things that I've created for myself in my business that help support my well-being and my sanity, that created balance that I didn't have before when I was working too much and I overworked and ended up crashing. So like some things you have to learn, like you have to crash. You have to create some kind of imbalance in order to figure out where you can adjust yourself to build the balance in. So hopefully that helps.
Is it, when is it building muscles and resilience, and when is it going too far in the crash? Yeah. Great. Who else has an answer to this question? Yeah, it definitely for me is learning that it's okay for me to mark off project time. Like I've always had the clients first, and then I can pile in too many clients and too many things, and I don't plan enough work time for some of the clients that I have, where it's not just face-to-face time. So that's similar to the internal projects. But yeah, client projects. Sujata. Sue.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm just starting out, and I've done energy healing for like quite a few years now, but I've been so busy having fun with it that the concept of actually making like a schedule around it, having an appointment calendar, having my payment apps, it's really, some days I feel like it's taking the fun out of the healing. So there is that fine balance that I'm working on, where it's like I do want to help other people, and then showing up with as a service, it's changing my mindset. So I totally feel that. I love everybody's answers because I love the concept of scheduling. That way I don't have to like feel guilty when I'm not doing it. I think I'm going to totally embrace that. Thank you.
I think it's Satora. Are there any specific questions about it in terms of starting your business that you have? Just if you want us to be more specific about anything. I know if one's giving away like pre-scheduled paid other work and how much time in the business, there's a learning to balance that too, right? Growth and flow in.
No, can't think of it right now. It's for me. I mean, I've been starting my business for a year and a half now. That I'm serious into it, but yeah, it's just the whole overwhelmness of it. It's just so much. There was way more technical stuff than I thought there would be. There's so many details to it, and yeah.
Yeah, that would be the question of like, what is the balance of how thoroughly one sets it up? Or does one set it up super, super simply, right? So I have new practitioners that will simply come to an event, set up a 2-foot table, and they offer readings, and they make what they make that day. And people that can pay cash, and they can't make change. And so they only earn from the people that they can. And right. And they do something and the business is going. Yeah. So it can be really simple. And then, yeah, so how much more complex and thorough and flexible and yeah.
Well, the thing is, I kind of learned how to properly do a business, and that that really stalled me out. I think because it became like a big have to, and I forgot about actually doing the work. For I had a phase there where I forgot why I'm doing this and the actual work, because it was all about creating the business aspect of it, and I got totally lost in it. And I started listening to all kinds of business coaches, and I literally had to step away from it for 2 months or so, totally not do anything business, unsubscribe from everybody, and just come back to connecting with the beings in my work, and why am I really doing this, and doing the work again, because that's where it all came from my own experience and from my own changes. And so yeah, but that's also a part for me of coming into balance. I go way off balance on something, but eventually it all balances out. I learn, because we're all intelligent and we learn, so we get the hang of it and get in the flow. And creating a business is like a huge learning, like big.
And for you, I'd say the opening to doing your healing work, it took the time it took the experiences it took, and in many ways that was easy for you. And there are some people that might be really, really good at business, and opening up to be a healer is really, really hard for them. So again, different for everyone.
Well, and I feel like because of the nature of our businesses, we really do have to find that balance between the mundane and the mystical, right? Because we want to be in the mystical all the time, but then it is a business. So we have to have that part too. But we can't lose sight of the mystical, because that's where the magic happens, right? That's the basis for the business itself. So a lot of these things I have learned that I need to actually delegate, and I'm a control freak. So I have learned that I actually need to pass some of that stuff off. And so I do have an accountant. My mom was a CPA, so that was really, really hard for me to pass off. In fact, I went to school to be a CPA, and now I laugh at myself for that. But because that's one of the things that I hate the most about doing my business now, because it does bring me back into the mundane so much. And but yeah, we do have to find that balance, and we can pass, it is legal to pass some of that stuff off, you know, and we just need to manifest the money that we need to pay them, you know, which is great because we're mystical and we can do that.
But yeah, that's a great, balancing control freak and balancing freedom from doing the thing. Yeah. I mean, all like, I'm a control freak, so I totally know control freak is out of balance, right? So it's an opportunity for me to look at how I can get some other things in balance. Yeah, this is great. You know, people switching jobs too, they go through some similar topics as this, right? The effort they put into the work that's here in their life, and how much energy, effort do they put into looking for the new thing, getting themselves sorted so that they can move to something that's better, right? They can notice that something is better or not better. Yeah, and mobilizing their energy for the change. Right? It might release a lot of energy to be gone, and it's easy. And it might involve more conscious awareness and transition. I don't have kids. A lot of my decisions can be much easier. Transitions are much easier. Not having kids to take care of, or know where they are and what they're doing and who's caring for them and all those things. My partner's looking at getting a new cat. My office now roommate is looking at getting a new kitten. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. Short term, with the aim that there's lots of joy. Great. For those of you that came in more recently, we have not had an abundance of questions on this panel, and so we are open to questions that are super duper sliding scale, that are off our normal sliding scale, that are less than that. And we're also open to general questions, and we might even be open to answering a question for free. And we might finish up the panel soon too. We now have some flow of all that. But yeah, this has been great conversation. And yeah, we have our own questions, so we've been answering some of our own. This is great. Satora, what are you?
Yeah, I just want to say part of my balance is 2 hours is about my limit of panel time. We're coming up to that, so I just want to say that. But it's
Go ahead and reintroduce yourself, and let me put your information in the chat, and so that way you can leave whenever you want to leave.
okay. Well, I'm Satora. Satora with Amari's Wellbeing, and I work with a group of ascended masters and angels, mostly, also other beings of unconditional love, and we are here to help you. My brain is not working that well anymore.
We're at the end of those 2 hours, and this is an example of balance being imbalanced. Yeah.
Help you with your well-being, make life easier, make your spiritual path easier, especially focusing on sensitive people like me, sensitive people. Also, I'm starting to develop things for people, neurodivergent people with ADHD specifically. And we work with an energy healing modality called quantum energetic realignment, which is our thing, that helps you align with who you really are and what you want, your heart's desires, helps you, bases you in love and well-being, and removes blocks, and basically you come out in a different state where you're more aligned with who you really are and with what you want. And so things that you want can come, you're more open to opportunities and things, receiving those things. Also feeling better, not to be dismissed. I also have work with an Oriental healing art called Jinjin, a specific branch called Jinjin Terra. Some of you may have heard of Jinjin Jitsu, so I work with a branch that off of that. That works with the meridians, the 5 elements, and touching certain sites on the body in certain sequences. Has wonderful self-care applications that are simple and very safe. So that's something that we can share and include. You can reach us here at amaris.com. That's our website. If you want more information, we're also about to start. I'm creating this new event called Empowered Prayer and Intention Circle, where we come together to set our own intentions, whatever prayer means for you. Focus on your own and your loved ones, and then also reach out into setting intentions, setting energies to the earth community as a whole, or certain specific areas and situations. And do that together. Anyway, thanks so much, and thank you all for being here. That was wonderful, and thanks for answering my questions, and thanks for all your contributions. It was a really great time. Thank you, Laureli, and thank you all who are coming to listen. And I hope to connect with you all soon again somehow.
Thank you, Satora. It's been lovely having you here. Great. So just checking in if there are any other topics or questions, and if not, we'll all start closing out. And I'll put the link in the chat again too, for anyone that wants to give us feedback on today. You can enter into a drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice. We'd love to get your feedback. Yeah, any other topics or questions? Let's see. Maybe I'll just, how do we know that, I mean, I have my own answers to this, but how do we know that balance is something to seek for? Why do we believe that? Is it something that, do we naturally flow into balance? Do we naturally go out of balance like chaos? Why balance? Why is it a topic? I'm being a little, poke. Prompter.
I think for me, it's about peace. Like, do I have peace in my life or not? If it is not peace, then it's chaos. If it's chaos, then where am I out of balance?
But why? I guess, like, do we naturally go towards peace? Is this then some intellectual idea that we create? Is it something that we naturally move towards as organisms, as souls?
Maybe. It's been a lifelong journey for me to seek peace and seek balance. Has been like my ultimate goal in life. And anytime I've been out of balance, anytime I am not in a peaceful place, I'm asking why, I'm pressing into it, I'm questioning my reality. Why is this here? What is going on here? And is there a way for me to get away from this to achieve more peace in my life? What I'm finding lately, though, the things that I perceived as peace were more like procrastination, laziness, and avoiding things. And so I really started questioning, okay, Miss Bucklin, what can I do to get out of that? And I started to identify places in my life where I was being lazy or I was procrastinating. And I was like, oh, oh, I see. Oh, I see. So not rinsing the cat food container until like the next day. Like there's things that I do that are really like, why am I doing these things? So yeah, I think that it is kind of an organic desire within my body to achieve peace. And it's a mental thing too. I mean, I came from an abusive childhood and then into abusive relationships. And as a result of those, I abused myself. And so like there were all of these patterns that I realized as I came into my 40s that, wow, I am like totally out of balance in so many different places. There's a lot of self-work that needs to be done here. And it's taken me about 7 years to get really comfortable in a balanced place. And like I am feeling healthy, I feel whole, I feel loved, I feel valued, I feel worthy, all these things that I didn't have because of where I came from. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
I did. You started off some of your life so far out of balance. That's part of why coming into balance was so important to you.
Mhm.
Right? Your eyes, your eyes have maybe more of like, so your soul has more of a, like, I'll just moving towards balance.
Mhm.
Right? Then mine might have a little bit more of, my balance might have more extreme in it than your balance.
Mhm.
But there are other ways that yours might have more extreme than my balance too.
Interesting. I like to play. I don't get enough play in my life. So that's a place in my life where I could use more balance.
And
Okay.
play has, I say play has like a dancing with balance, but it's not, there's out of balance that's part of play.
That's true.
Or at least asymmetric balance, which seems to be what's wanted right in art. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. If you have more, go ahead. And I know Marcia's in line. Go ahead, Stephanie.
No, I think that was it.
Go ahead, Marcia.
Well, I think as humans, we learn from contrast. So things have to be out of balance for us to learn that we don't want it that way. So, so I have to go to the point, I need to go until I drop and realize, oh, now I'm sick and I don't want this to happen again. So I need to actually schedule time for myself and take the time. I realized I want to give you an example of that. I was in Florida earlier this year. There was no danger of a hurricane then, but I was so concentrating on making everything that I had planned to rebuild my business and make it really successful and make really good use of the coach that I had hired. And I was so wrapped up in all of that I had been in Florida for 2 weeks before I realized I hadn't been to the beach yet. And for me, I go down to Florida for the water, because we're landlocked in Montana. So for me to not go to the beach is absolute insanity. So that was where I needed to find my balance and bring myself back to. And then when I got to the beach, I couldn't get out of the water again. So bring myself back to sanity.
An interesting question of do human babies all push edges in learning? Do all animal babies push edges in learning? Like some things that we seem to learn over each lifetime that has to do with edges. Or say has to do with out of balance to find out what's too far.
Right? I don't know if I know the answer to that, but that's a really good question. I think with that we're built to forget so that we can learn and be human, so I'm not sure about that, but it poses an interesting question for sure.
Felicia, I know you had something.
And I guess just generally speaking, it's like when we came incarnated to Earth, right? We got to think we came from source where everything was in alignment, everything was great. And we decided, you know what? I want to learn something new. I want to explore something different. So we decided to come to this training ground called Earth. And it's like when we first come here as kids, like we as babies, we still kind of remember where we came from before. And then we get older, like start getting the programming from the, 5 and all that. And so then, like you said, we forget kind of where we came from and the training really begins. And so it's like we come here, we do all these lessons, we have these different lives, we connect with other individuals because we're all connected. It was like, oh yeah, don't you remember when we was up in Source, we said that we're going to come down here and I was going to help you to be able to do XYZ. Now I'm here to help you to do XYZ, but it just doesn't look like what you thought it was going to look like because we forget. But then we come, we transition out, we learn lessons, and we go back to perfect balance Source. So it's like I say all that to say, we knew what we signed up for when we came. We just simply forgot.
And I'm gonna just poke and play was right, but right, poke and play. So what if being in alignment in Source, what if there is some play and there is some like chaos is in there too, or some flow of like it looks like it might be out of balance and it's in balance, and that's part of the balance. Like
it's really not, because it's like if you look further down, that imbalance is what brought you in balance to what your purpose is supposed to be. So for example, if you did experience some trauma as a youth, right, and you go through all that, and that trauma then turns around, now you're a coach that's helping other individuals, or a therapist or something like that, that's now helping other individuals to be able to deal with that situation. But if you hadn't been out in balance and had that experience, you wouldn't be able to then come back and help and instruct others. So like you said, was it really out of balance?
Right, it's all part of the balance. Yeah.
Yeah, but as humans, it's difficult to say. We don't want to say, yeah, you had to go through that trauma and that was intentional, because it just sounds bad. It's like we think our lives are going to be just smooth and have no struggle. But the reality is that through struggle, we do get, stronger. You think about people that have, been in an accident or something like that, and they're in a bed. What happens? They're not able to move their limbs or anything like that. People still come in, moving their legs, their muscles, because it's like you need some kind of resistance in order to maintain that strength. Heck, Laureli, you said that earlier. Like you've gotten stronger by going to push that little thing that you're going to push all that time, right? And that's the same thing. It's like you got to have something to resist in order to help us to make us grow stronger. You go to the gym, you lift weights. Dad, why did I do this? My body is so sore. Then boom. Oh, because it's stronger. So yeah, we go through these experiences, and at the time it doesn't feel good, but ultimately it was meant for our good, right? Like the Chinese proverb, what's good, what's bad, in that whole story.
Wait, what is it? What's good? What's bad? What?
Yeah, the Chinese proverb story, what's good, what's bad.
I don't know it. Do you know it enough? You can.
Oh, yeah. So Chinese proverb is about this farmer. And so the farmer has this farm, and so he has these different experiences, and he has these things that occur. So like, for example, he has a horse that they come, and his neighbors come, and it's like, oh, that's so great that, you know, this horse came to you. How wonderful. And he's like, maybe. So then his only son is taming this wild horse, and then he's thrown off the horse and breaks his leg. Neighbors come over and they're like, oh, that's so terrible that your, you know, son was thrown off and he broke his leg. And he's like, maybe. So then there's this war. And so the soldiers come to their house and they see his son, but his son doesn't go off to war because he has a broken leg. And they're like, oh, you're so lucky. That's just wonderful that your son didn't have to go. And he's like, maybe. But basically, it was the whole lesson to learn that just depending on what the situation is it good? Is it bad? Or is it just going through the whole experience?
Right.
So that's like the overall high level gist of that story.
Yep. No, that's great. That's great. Yeah, you reminded me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Yep. Context.
Yep.
All right. I think it's been fun being here with all of you discussing achieving healthy lifestyle balance. And maybe Stephanie, say a little bit more about the event that's happening in another couple of weeks, and then we'll all close out.
Okay, so the Autumn Integrative Wellness Expo and Conference is a hybrid event. It is a conference first. We're hosting a kickoff event that is a panel discussion on the blue zones. That will be very interesting. And the first day isn't really conference, it's more like fun stuff. I'm going to do an Instagram live and a Facebook live and a YouTube live and all this fun stuff. And then on Thursday and Friday, we have speakers. We have workshops to make it more interesting. So there's the Zoom room will have the conference, and then we'll have breakout rooms for the workout or the workshops. And then on Saturday, we're going to be in person in Phoenix. And so I have, let's see, I just did the math. We have 57 vendors signed up. I have room for more. I have, I think, 8 different workshops over Saturday and Sunday. We're having a meditation and a drum circle and sound healing and all kinds of yummy stuff. Every event that I host has different elements. And so there's a vendor expo, there's a healing clinic where you can come and heal, actually receive a healing session. There's a section for sound healing. There's a section for art. There's a section for kids. And the intention of this event is essentially to disrupt allopathic medicine. I am a disruptor. I'm a social entrepreneur. I believe that we need to change how we do medicine. And so I called it integrative wellness to attract doctors and nurses that are into holistic medicine, but I also bring in the metaphysical and bring in the psychics and the tarot readers and all that yummy stuff as well. So it is going to be a very, very exciting event. It's 5 days altogether, 3 days online, 2 days in person. I'm going to do as much as I can to incorporate the 2 days into the internet experience so that people can still experience the in-person part. And let me see, there is a sliding scale ticket available on Humanitics. That is not an option on Eventbrite. So I have 2 different ticket platforms. If you want to pay the $33 for the online access, you can go on Eventbrite. either one is going to get you the Zoom link. You'll still have access, but Humanics gives us that option. It also gives us the option to have a direct donation for our nonprofit partner, which is awesome. I love Humanics and what they are doing. The full event schedule is on the Eventbrite page. I've got kind of a modified schedule on the Humanics page because it's focused on the online event. And I am so excited.
What should people
love
search
it.
for if they want to find it online?
Let's see. So Autumn IWEC 2020 or Autumn Integrative Wellness Expo and Conference. We are on Facebook. It's on my website, stephaniebucklin.com. It is on Eventbrite. It's on Humanics. And I've even ventured a little bit into TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm not really on TikTok. I posted one video, but I'm working on it.
It's great and for our practitioners that here or the ones that might be watching. So you have a few spots open still for speakers and for booths?
Do still have a few spots available for the vendors if you're local or if you want to come to Phoenix. The weather is actually becoming quite beautiful now. There are spots on the online schedule for online workshops. So if you host workshops, that is an option. If you want to come in person and do a workshop, I've got space in the schedule for workshops on Saturday and Sunday as well. So I'm still developing the schedule. I set the deadline for October 8th, but I might have to push it a couple more days just to get all those times filled.
Right, you're very close. Great.
Yeah.
All right. And do you want to just go ahead and finish your checkout now too, since you write about you as a practitioner?
Sure. So let's see. I am Stephanie Bucklin. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, mostly I am at stephaniebucklin.com. I'm on YouTube. I forgot about YouTube. And I am a psychic medium. I just came out as a psychic. I've been psychic my entire life, but haven't really done a whole lot of readings. So I decided for the month of October that I was going to do a special, which is the special I gave you, Laureli. It's been in the chat, but I'm also offering it on Facebook. It's $44 for a reading, and it's only good until my birthday. So that's the 23rd. And what else? I am a Reiki practitioner. I teach yoga. Right now, I'm teaching a gentle yoga class every Tuesday and Thursday on Zoom, and that is a pay what you can class. You can find that on Facebook and as well on my website, and all kinds of other yummy stuff. I'm always looking for multiple sources of income, so I've got multiple businesses. So there's other things that I do. Like I am a wine consultant for Scout and Cellar. I sell clean crafted wine. I mean, who knew that wine was toxic? This company sells clean wine. It is so awesome. So many options, so many opportunities. I am bubbly like this all the time. So if you want to hang out with me, I will be like this. This is me. I love to laugh. I love to share. I love to be in joy. I love to be in bliss. It's just one of my favorite things on the planet is bliss. So I share that as much as possible. And I love you, Laureli. This is such a cool panel. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks so much for being a stand for balance and bringing that to all of us with the panel and with the conference and all of what you do. All right, great. Practitioners, who else wants to jump in and go ahead and share about who you are, what you do, how people can reach you, your special, etc. Jump in or we will call name.
I can jump in. I'm Marcia Colver, and I am multiple things as well. A shaman, a Reiki practitioner, massage therapist. I even do massage online, which is really interesting too. For people who don't like to be touched, I can get the massage to be effective for you as well, which is really cool. I do hypnosis, and I also sing people into trances. I sing and move through your energy, balance you up, and give you a reading about what happened afterwards. I also do astrology, which I forgot to mention earlier, and I touch on human design as well when I do astrology readings. So you can get in touch with me online at marciacolver.com, and I have a special going that's only for this group, and it is $33, 30 minutes for $33, which is less than 50% off. So, or more than 50% off, sorry. And and also listed is my Amazon author page, and I am in 5 books for the Ancestors Within. We have 2 journals, and I'm in 3 of the Ancestors Within regular books, contributing author for those. And it's all about how to release trauma and connect with your ancestors more and bring down the gifts that they are willing to give you. So check that out too. And oh gosh, multiple things. I teach as well. So, and I also do festivals. I have one coming up here, October 28th, and I'm helping with one in Great Falls this coming weekend. So if you're in or around Montana, I'd love to see you.
Great. I love how we are part of it. We're a collection of community of people that run events. We have someone else on the East Coast too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And I want to spell your website for people. It's MarciaColver.com.
Thank you.
All right, great. Who else wants to? Felicia.
Yes, aloha everyone. It has been a pleasure connecting with you this evening. As an all-intuitive executive and life coach, I encourage people to live smart. You can check out my webcast, All Intuitive Conversation, live on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Central on LinkedIn. This is where I do energy readings with career professionals using oracle cards, asking intuitive questions, and channeling spiritual intuitive feedback. One way you can support me that's absolutely free is going to YouTube and looking for Felicia Miller Johnson, All Intuitive Conversation, and subscribing to the channel and liking the videos. Then once you see the videos and you're like, yeah, I would love to either be a guest on my live show and or have a private reading, reach out to me at sevenfoldcoaching.com. That's SEVENFOLD coaching.com. And until we meet again, thank you.
Thanks so much, Felicia. It's been great having you on one of our panels. I'm so excited to have you in more events.
Thank you.
All right, and Sue, you're next. Let's get you unmuted.
Thank you so much, everybody. I loved listening to Balance because, you know, everything happens at the right time. So, I'm a intuitive empath, and I do energy healing. I do Reiki, and I absolutely enjoy playing with the different bodies, like the emotional, the mental, the physical, the spiritual, and the etheric. And I love finding the pattern that's running through all of them and see which pattern needs to be tweaked to get all of us into alignment. So, thank you so much for being here today.
Great, and thanks so much for also being here with us in Central Time. I know it's later for those of you that are, you are temporarily in Central Time. Great, get your info in the chat again. And you have a special today too. And I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach. I read your eyes, read your soul, and answer questions about your soul, your purpose, your career paths, relationships. I love to use this for matchmaking to connect you with employers or romantic partners, all kinds of things, so that you are more on your path, more in alignment with yourself, more in growth balance. Just I love to support you to be who you are, authentic in all contexts as much as possible. And you can learn more about me at LaureliShimayo.com. That's LaureliShimayo.com. And I will put my info in the chat too. And today I'm offering $50 off my Learn to Read Eyes class, where you learn how to recognize the 7 talents in people's eyes. About 15 hours on video. It is looking at lots of photos of people, getting lists of all kinds of characteristics, and lots of photos where you can start to see what it is I see. And I have all kinds of upcoming events, matchmaking, drop-in events. I have one tomorrow, and I'm going to be doing eye readings in Portland this weekend, and then I'm going to be at the Mystic Fair in Port Townsend the day before I run an in-person fair in Linwood in the Seattle area. Lots going on. And we have lots coming up in MeWe too. We have a Metaphysics and Intuition Practice Circle coming up on Wednesday, October 12th. If you want to practice whatever modality you are learning, or simply your intuition with peers, it's a great opportunity to come do that in the held space, the circle. And we have an online fair coming up on Saturday, October 22, where we have about 16 practitioners that will be sharing their work. Many of them doing group readings by donation, and we'll do a small intuitive panel there too. And there's an opportunity for private sessions. We're coming up in the end of the month, so the Black Cat Conjure for Halloween and Samhain panel is coming soon. That's October 27th. Yeah, lots happening. I'll put those on the chat too. Anyone wants to know those specific dates. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here today for our panel on achieving healthy lifestyle balance. It's been great being here. And I am more aware of how I am in and not in balance from the conversation. And I feel more playful about what balance is. So this has been great. And I've enjoyed being here with all of you. All right, well, I'm going to turn off the recording. Yeah, we look forward to being with everyone with MeWe events again soon. And